All right, what's going on, people? John Zannis, Sherrod Blakely, Garden Report, the penultimate. I love saying that word. You can't say it very often. The penultimate game of the 2022-23 regular season. A really fun one, Sherrod, against the Raptors. No Brown. We'll get to that in a minute. No Brogdon, no Smart. No problem. Fun. Hauser, Pritchard, Rob. Lots of good stuff. Everybody getting in on the action except for Grant, pretty much. Um,
Yeah. But you know what? I had to make Grant in here. He's got to be part of the show. And
yeah.
this is Happy Grant.
Well,
So
I
I've
I
done my
want you to
Grant
tell.
part. I'm done.
Well, once we get a couple things out of the way, I want you to tell me what you encountered arriving at the arena today. But hold on, first we'll just tell everybody at home, check out FanDuel if you're into that. I'm pretty sure that Desperation 3 might have hit the over right at the end, that
At the
last
very end,
second.
yeah.
I think it did, but I'm not sure. But anyway, check it out if you're interested. FanDuel.com/Boston. Get $200 in bonus bets when you make your first $5 wager. And so you got to the arena. Jaylen Brown's not playing. We're gonna get into what's going on with Jaylen Brown in a minute. What did you encounter right when you got there?
Well, when I heard that Jalen wasn't playing, I was just like, oh, nice. He gets a day off. And they're like, no,
Yeah.
it's actually, he heard it, you know. Um, and I'm thinking, oh crap! It feel like Marcus Smart and West Coast trip all over again, where he had like that weird hand injury, and it's look, I don't know what the hell is going on with these guys. Where it's like it's like just weird things happen to their players, or at least they tell us these weird things happen to them. They just seem almost too weird to make sense. Hand injury, what watering a plant or something like that. It's I don't know. It feels weird. The reasoning behind it, it feels weird.
It does feel weird. It does feel weird, and we'll talk about it because never in the history of domestic sports injuries has it actually happened the way that people said it. Just not normally a thing that happens. But also, when you got there, what was the latest Celtics promotional push?
You know what? I go to my seat and I brought it with me because I want to make sure that people understand that the Celtics, they're pushing their players for postseason accolades, right? And they put them all in a very specific order. And at the top of everyone's list was this. This was the very first thing you saw when you went to your seat. And I thought, well, maybe they're doing it in alphabetical order. And then I said, oh, wait, Malcolm Brogdon's in here. BROG comes before W, so it's not alphabetical order. Oh, wait, he's not. And then they got their MVP candidate. He's like page 4. So I love the love that they're giving Jaylen Brown. Love it.
Yeah,
I mean, last night the Red Auerbach Award, or the other night the Red Auerbach Award, and now their promotional materials. He's front page. For those who are who are old enough to remember what newspapers used to do. The very first story that you see at the top is like the big story that they want you to know about. It's the one that they care the most about. So I'm loving the love that they're giving Jaylen, but it's starting to get a little bit over the top. I feel he gets it. You like him. You want him to stay, but let's just kind of get back to how things normally are. Um, so, but yeah, that was funny. I mean, I thought that was quite comical when I saw that.
yeah. Uh,
Because they still got, because Tatum's in here and Brogdon's in here, and they've got a bunch of guys for all defense in here. But the very first thing, if you only see one thing, this is it. It's
you,
our guy.
you're gonna see the Jaylen Brown show. Um, a few things happened tonight that will definitely that have value and matter. Um, and among them is locking in your opponent. They now know it's their opponents are down to 2, and they'll find out on Tuesday who that is. It's going to be Atlanta or Miami, and you are kind of figuring out. I think I'm not going to call them open auditions, but I think it's fair to guess. Just which direction certain things are going to go in terms of who's going to get playing time. We talked about it last show. The 7 people who are in the rotation. If Rob is in fact coming off the bench, with Rob and Brogdon as the automatic people, along with the 5 starters who will eat the most minutes. So Ime tonight went double and triple big, in fact, to start the second
Freudian
half.
slip there, John. You said Ime.
I do it all the time.
He may be coaching the team that the other team we saw tonight
He
next
might
season,
be.
Toronto.
He might be.
Yeah.
Or Atlanta. You never know. It doesn't matter. Anyway,
Right.
So you're right, Joe. Sorry about that. We did see triple big tonight, actually, at one point. But you're seeing Hauser minutes. You're still seeing Grant coming in. You're still seeing Blake coming in before Grant or about the same time as Grant. It is really interesting. I am curious who sneaks in because, again, you're talking in the playoffs, tight rotations, and you could see some DNP CDs from guys like Grant, depending on how things go. Hauser, again, tough to keep him off the floor if he's making shots the way he's making shots. And he's kind of back to where he was early in the season, that really quick release, confident, getting that shot off. Just looks good. And 3 friggin' dunks tonight. So that stuff's fun to talk about.
Which is probably more dunks he's had. I think that's, I don't think he had maybe 1 dunk all season.
Yeah.
But the thing about Hauser that, again, when he's playing like that, the Celtics become that team that steamrolled over everyone at the start of the season. Because now all of a sudden, basically the 4th or 5th option offensively is a freaking 50% freaking three-point shooter who has got a ridiculous quick release that you really, again, because you got to worry about all those other guys, you basically kind of got to leave Hauser relatively wide open or lightly contested, and he can make you pay.
Yeah.
This was the audition dynamic is very real. It feels very much like Grant is, kind of moving back into the shadows of the rotation, whereas Blake doesn't even have to score, and you can see the impact that he's making out there. And he's doing all the little things that they need. I mean, he's keeping balls alive, diving for loose balls, he's rebounding, he's passing, he's doing all the things that Grant was doing, only Grant's not doing them anymore. So if you're Joe, you got to play the guys that are going to help you win. You can't play favorites. You can't play the guys that you leaned on back in November and December, because if they're not getting it done in April and May, it's useless.
This is a fair point on the chat. I think that's the wild card thing is, are you locked and that you're going to get good minutes out of Grant or Hauser or Muscala or even Pritchard if you're to sneak him in there? You're not. But again, a lot of teams, when they're getting into 8 and 9 in their rotations, they're not certain that they're getting A-plus efforts out of those guys too. You have to be realistic. You're just not going to have, when we talk about the Celtics depth, we talked about it before, is you've got 7 starters. Legit 7 starters, easy. And so when you're dipping into 8 and 9, yeah, fine, there's going to be a bit of a drop there. Grant was somebody who was a fringe starter at times. That's why you'd like to kind of see him do. It's just not. We're just not seeing it right now for whatever reasons out of him this year. So disappointing that that's not the automatic 8th guy in that rotation. But again, I think you feel comfortable giving Hauser some minutes in there, and depending which teams you think you can't get him on the floor against Miami, there's plenty of people that you can put him out there against. There'll be minutes for him, and I think it is right. Who they play will determine who gets what. That makes sense, the most sense.
Yeah,
so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, there will be. Toronto's a tough team for a guy like Grant. They're long, they're athletic. He's not going to get anything off. He can't get shots off against a team like this. They play good defense. It's a really, really, really tough matchup. Longer teams, bigger teams, going to be tougher for him.
Yeah, but the thing that stood out to me in a bad way for Grant was that I didn't see multiple effort plays. Like he can't do anything about the length. He can't do anything about all that other stuff, but he can control the effort that he plays with. And I just didn't see him making the multiple effort type of plays we saw earlier in the year, and frankly the plays that we're seeing Blake make. Blake is every game he gets out there, his ass is on the floor diving for a loose ball at some point. He's keeping a ball alive. He had just a great sequence where he kept a ball alive, had the ball, had what looked like a wide open mid-range jumper, and just threw it behind his back to Pritchard in the corner, who caught it in stride, raised up 3. That's what Blake is about now. He's about figuring out ways he can impact winning. And I think Grant, that's the goal with Grant, but I just don't think the execution is anywhere close to where it was at the start of the season. And frankly, I don't know if he's going to get enough runway to get back into a rhythm of doing that, because I still think Grant is going to help them win a game. I think he's going to be an X factor, at least one game, but I I'm getting the vibe that he's not going to do enough to where he becomes a regular in the rotation as he was at the start of the season.
No, and I think that's basically it. Is instead of Grant being guaranteed 18, 20 minutes coming off the bench there, I think we are looking at 8 to 10 to Blake, maybe 6, 7, 8, 10 to Grant, Hauser, depending. And there's going to be a few DNP CDs sprinkled in there as well on those games where they go really, really, really tight. So, the auditions are kind of over, but it is interesting where you just see what people do with the opportunities that they're given. And the reality is he's just not doing much with the opportunities he's been given. Coming out of the doghouse, Joe did put him back in, start to give him that run again. Didn't really fully justify.
He didn't thrive. Yeah. Especially when you look at Hauser, who was in the doghouse at one point, and when the minute he got loose and got back in, he's just like, F that. I'm not going back there again. So
and Blake's showing you he can be more than a once a week guy. So again, it's tough. So you're seeing a little bit there, kind of getting a sense of the rotation, what might happen there. The other thing that I think just kind of jumps off the page, or at least it did in the first half, was kind of the Rob. Is he back? And this was a fun game to watch Rob, because I felt like there was almost like everybody in the Celtics got together and was like, we're going to throw him the ball down low and see if he'll do something with it. And what did you see? You saw a post move from Rob. You saw him go to the basket, once or twice. You saw a couple times he was reluctant to do it. But it almost felt like they were force feeding him a little, like, come on, big fella, you can do it. And I know one time you texted me, Sherrod, during the game, and you're like, what a tease. It looked like he was back.
He's backing him down, and I'm like, here we go. And next thing you know, he throws that out on the wing. I'm like, come on, stop.
And then he kicks it. But my goodness gracious, like, first off, the passing, and obviously that backdoor, dish to Hauser from the top of the key when he just whips it one-handed was, super highlight worthy. That made it 10 too early, kind of got them started on that run. But just how well he was moving it throughout, even, from low block to Tatum at the opposite elbow, just seeing him catching the ball in motion, just everything, all the passes he throws just hits people in hand. He's able to see them, see the lanes, get them places, get them across court, really kind of like just reverse the action, really keeps it moving, does an amazing job. But I mean, then he was just, he blocked 3 shots. I think he almost blocked like 11. He was so close. And, you could hear it a couple times, even on the broadcast. He was like, like I just missed that one. So he looked lively. He was everything everywhere all at once in the first half. And like, to the point that it looked like at times there were 7 guys on the floor. It was kind of reminiscent of last year's defense when it's just like, it looks like there's 6 of them. The reality is it looks like there's 3 Robs because he's just everywhere. And Toronto was like, it was like, like, where did this guy come from? They were like seeing ghosts with him all over the place. I think he was really in their heads.
Yeah, he was. I mean, this was Rob Matrix mode. He's
exactly.
Keanu Reeves. He was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Which, and again, the thing he did that I thought was really impressive was there would be possessions where he just wouldn't move, and they're looking around for him. And that is what you want as a defender. You want to get in their heads to the point where whether you do something or not do something, they're thinking about you. They're constantly thinking about you, looking for you. And when they're looking for you, that means their focus is off of moving the ball, of finding the best play. And Rob, I thought this was very reminiscent of last season, Rob, that we saw at the end of that final series where he was playing 30 minutes a game. People forget that, his last 2 or 3 games against Golden State, he played more than 30 minutes, and that was the longest stretch of games where he had played in that 30-minute-ish range. Again, these are the kind of games that you love to see from Rob because it reminds us of just how dominant he can be. And to your point, John, the fact that he was actually making some semblance of a post move, that is what you want to see. You want to see Rob grow. You want to see him expand his game beyond what he's shown the ability to do. And one part of that growth is his ability to do something on the block. And I really was hoping that he would just try to back guys down and score for them because he has the physicality and physical build to do that against a team like Toronto.
I actually want to see him, I don't mind the back down. I actually want to see him square up. And, in that low block, face up, and do a little shake because he's
Right.
so much quicker than most of the people he's going to encounter there. We've seen it once or twice during the season. One time he did it, I can't remember which team, and just went right to the basket for an up and under. I think he could do that. I think he could threaten to pull up with a small 6-8 footer if people don't come out and challenge. He's just, again, it's just untapped potential. He's not going to discover all of a sudden a series of moves in the low block heading into the postseason. But again, just that mentality, when he catches it low, he's got to at least think for a second. Is the best thing we're going to get out of this possession me going up with it? And the answer is yes. Sometimes you caught it in a great position. Just go up with a little baby hook or a little something. You're right there. You've got good touch. Don't be afraid to do it. That'll be better than what you're going to do if you work it back to the perimeter with 8 seconds left on the clock and then have somebody have to take a contested three. It just depends. He's got to know the moment and recognize that, like, this might be the best we're going to get out of this possession, so I'm going to take it on myself to give it a shot. I think once he does that, he'll be better. There were some times during the year where he did catch it low, immediately kicked it back out, and I think everyone was like, no, man, that was yours. That was yours to shoot. Like, we don't want it anymore. Like, we're in a bad spot now that you gave the ball back to us. So tonight, I think it clicked a little because he did go up with it a couple of times, which was fun to see. But just the other stuff, just jumping all over and just being lively and running up and just being active, you've seen a bit of it lately. And so I think you have to feel pretty good. You mentioned it earlier, Sherrod, like, recognizing like he can't go all out for the time he was going. Since he's come back from injury, he's really kind of been limited to this, I know he started tonight, but the second half, coming off the bench 20, 22, 23 minutes, I think that suits him just fine. I think he's in a pretty good place right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a good place, I think, in terms of how he's feeling. I think he's in a good place in terms of what he can do to help the team be successful. And you don't get the feeling that he's out there laboring. And to me, that's the thing I'm looking for from him, is to make sure that when he's out there, that he is just playing his game, that he doesn't seem as though he's having to put forth great effort just to be out there and be impactful. He looks like Rob. He looks like the guy that so many of us thought was the defensive player of the year last year, who can also impact the game, from an offensive standpoint because of his rim running ability and just his overall ability to just be a presence that teams have to account for at that end of the court. So this was a really good Rob game on so many levels.
People asking me to show them my post moves. There's not a single person who grew up. There's not a single person who grew up watching basketball in the era I did who hasn't mastered all of Kevin McHale's up and under dipsy moves. That's all we did play on one-on-one is just trying to friggin' the up fake and the under and the this and the that. But yeah, I don't know about the post up.
It was the equalizer for the vertically challenged.
It was great.
It was great. I mean, my favorite player in the NBA all time is Bernard King. Why? Because Bernard King never left the ground. Yet he scored 35 points.
Yeah, Bernard. Love Bernard King. Let's want to tell you a couple different things here. First off, just quickly about FanDuel. And hold on, I'll tell you everything you need to know. But yeah, we talk about what? We talk about, baseball. It's baseball season, right?
Everywhere but Boston.
I mean, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
Is it terrible?
The Red Sox, yes. Baseball season, no. Baseball season's awesome.
But we have it here, and the season started. So if you want to get in on some action, again, I know you're basketball fans. We'll tell you about baseball, grand slams, no hitters, double plays back. And FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook, but also the official partner of Major League Baseball. That's why we're telling you about it. So new customers here in Mass, you can get in on the action by going to FanDuel.com/Boston. $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. It's an app that is safe, secure, super easy to use. Again, don't miss your chance. $200 bonus bets, win or lose. FanDuel.com/Boston. Make every moment more. I do want to tell you again, you must be 21 plus and present at least in the state of Massachusetts to participate. $10 initial deposit required. First online bet must be a real money wager. Bonuses are issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Hope is here. Go to gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. Back to the game tonight, and again, I do want to get in on some of the Jaylen stuff because it is interesting. But those guys are in the locker room. We'll give them a chance to kind of talk to some people and see what's going on there and see if there's any more clarity on the situation. What we do know, there is some clarity on this situation. Heat or the Hawks first round. We went over this last time. The Heat are obviously the more challenging matchup. I know a lot of people were talking about it today. There's a good article, I think, in either The Athletic or The Ringer, just about Spoelstra, kind of being that guy and the guy that, a lot of teams know that, that's not a coach you want to necessarily go up
They don't
against.
want that smoke.
You don't want it. You don't want it. And that's the thing on the other side. I mean, again, you talk about all of the, the mystique of Belichick and the Patriots all those years and knowing that yeah, we can be better than that team and they'll find a way to make us play bad and expose our weaknesses and make things really difficult, even when they have teams that are less talented. How many teams walked out of Foxborough, Sherrod? How the F did we lose to those guys?
Right.
The answer was almost always it was because of that guy. And so that presents a problem. I also think it'll be some really ugly basketball. We've seen them play each other. Hideous, gross, disgusting, ugly basketball when these two teams play each other. Heat aren't good enough offensively to put up a ton of points. Then they go into these little funky zones and the Celtics go cold and it just becomes a rock fight. So nobody wants this series, but there is intrigue to it.
There is.
Because now there's familiarity. You've now seen
Right.
them multiple times with chances to go to finals and things over the last few years,
Yeah, that familiarity is definitely going to come into play. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But the thing about Miami that I always come back to when you talk about them beyond Spoelstra is the fact that they have guys who have historically been at their best against you.
Yep.
Hero plays his best against the Celtics. Jimmy Butler can go 0 for 22, but if they're down by 1, there's a pretty good chance that he's going to get the ball and make the next shot. We go back to, they've just got and we're not even talking about Bam Adebayo, who I think is just a guy that's just, on any given night he can be the best player on the floor with his game, and which is, again, it goes back to why having Rob looking more like last year end of the season Rob is so important if you play a team like Miami. My biggest concern with Atlanta is being lethargic and not taking them serious, because Trae Young can score like very few players in this league. And granted, he's an inefficient scorer. He takes a ton of shots to get his points, but he can absolutely, put you in a bind with his ability to score. DeJounte Murray is another good player. John Collins is just kind of, feast or famine. You just don't know what you're going to get with him. And then there's a wild card in all this, Quinn Snyder. They've got a coach that came on board midseason. You're sort of kind of seeing what he's looking to do, but you really don't know what tweaks he makes come playoff time. Yeah. So there's a lot of unknown with Atlanta that it will take a minute to just kind of figure a few things out. But the Celtics, bottom line, that's a series that they should win, because I look at it kind of like this. Atlanta is like the multiple choice open book test where you've studied for it. You're probably going to get through it fairly quickly, and you're going to get a good grade. Miami is like the essay test where you've got to really put some work and thought into it. And you may have studied for it, but it's going to be much more difficult to get a great grade because you've got to put more thought into how you're going to succeed. And so, I'm all about that multiple choice life. Because that's just easier. And I think at this point, and we talked about this before, you want to get in and out of each round so you can just rest, recuperate, and just focus on the next opponent. You're not trying to get into these street fights with teams like Miami, who's going to absolutely muck up the game because they know that's their best shot at winning.
Yep, and that's it. So you're locked in 1 through 8, where you know what's happening. And again, for those who need refresher on the play-in format, 7 versus 8, and the winner advances to play the Celtics. That's automatic. So that Celtics or Heat are coming here. 9-10, this sad, two teams that just look like they don't want to be playing basketball anymore, Toronto and Chicago. in the 9-10 off, and one of those guys is going to face off with the Heat Hawks loser for that 8th spot to get to go and play Milwaukee. So yeah, that's where you're at. You've got the Sixers going up against the Nets. Kudos to the Nets for kind of hanging in there post trades, kind of maintaining their position, hanging in there in that 6th spot, and they kind of stayed there. And the Knicks are 5. And they're gonna take on Cleveland, and that's a fun series. That's going to be the most fun series, right?
It is. Absolutely.
I mean, it's a 4-5, but still, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that I would be very surprised if that thing doesn't go at least 6. I expect it to go 7, just because I think it's going to be a dogfight. I mean, both of those teams are trying. They're looking to not just advance, but just get a little bit of respect on their franchise name. And I think that's going to be just a little added incentive motivation for those teams to really go out, play hard, and give themselves a chance to move on to the next round.
Yeah,
the Bucks will be waiting because the Bucks will be done in 4.
Yeah,
doesn't matter who Milwaukee plays; they'll sweep them.
Yeah, then I mean, most likely, right? That's where we're at. I'm checking on some scores here. Some interesting stuff earlier. Did the Mavericks end up going down?
They sat, I think, damn near anyone who actually.
They sat everyone, and then they played Luka for a quarter.
I hope they won. Because that's not what they wanted to do.
Yeah. Where am I? Friday.
I hope they're
Bulls. They are in a tight one right now in the 4th quarter against the Bulls. But they played Luka, brought him. He was only supposed to play 1 quarter. Kyrie sat. A whole bunch of people sat. They brought him back out. He got 1 bucket and then took a foul and walked off. I think the idea was to get him an ovation, but the crowd was like, "Why are we clapping? You guys are literally mailing in the season on us right now." They lose and they're done. So I don't know what happens there. But we'll get into it. Let's get in briefly, and again, I'll hear from those guys to the Jaylen Brown situation. Here's a picture of Jaylen. Oh, come on, guys! I want to see the hand. I don't want that there.
What?
I want to see the bandage, guys. Sorry, I didn't see that. There's a big ass bandage around his right hand. He said he cut his hand on a broken vase. Received stitches, expected to be ready for the playoffs. Hold on 1 second. Let me see here.
Broken vase.
No, I can't do it. Hold on 1 second. I don't know about this, but it was weird because Joe before the game was like, said one thing and then Jaylen kind of said another, but they're saying expected to be ready for the playoffs. I want something firmer than that.
Yeah, if it okay, whatever the injury, however it happened, we're that it is what it is. But the recovery is all about how quickly and how seamless those stitches heal. If they heal, I think according to the timetable, then yeah, it won't be an issue. And the benefit they have too, John, is the fact that the playoffs aren't going to start right away for them. They're going to, because they're playing the winner of the play-in, they get a little bit more runway for him to get right with that hand. But to me, even if it's close, I think what they'll probably do is he'll be the masked man with the gloved hand, if it comes to that. And that's fine. I mean, I'm not worried about him long term unless we get to the playoffs and they're just like, oh, by the way, he's not going to be ready for games 1 or 2, 3, and 4. If all of a sudden the prognosis becomes problematic. It gives us those, remember KG back in the day vibes? Like, oh, he'll be fine. He'll be ready for the playoffs. And he doesn't play at all. Yeah. I don't think it'll be that bad, but I mean, it's definitely something that we're all going to be on kind of pins and needles about until they say that he's going to play.
Yeah, I just, look, it doesn't matter how he did it.
Right.
If he comes back.
Right.
If he doesn't come back, it matters what happened.
Yeah.
And so, again, having done this for a very long time and having seen a lot of these things come up, like 0 out of all of them have ever been what was initially reported about this innocuous, and I'm going to go John Graham back in the day of the Bruins, Paxton Crawford. Obviously, you've got like famous ones like Jeff Kent, who said he did it like vacuuming and he fell off a motorcycle or something like that. Chris Sale recently with his bicycle. Irving Fryer chopping salad. No, none of these things are what people said happened. None of them.
I hope for
So
Jaylen.
again, it doesn't matter if he plays, but if he tore the freaking thing up doing something, it turns out to be a different story. Bad, 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 bad. So again, this is a let's not react until there's a reason to react story.
Right.
There could be a reason to react story if this is an impediment, okay? We don't know, so we'll see. But the vase, you dropped it, and then you violently jammed your hand down into it while it fell. Broken glass. I don't know.
The only thing that I can kind of see that happening is if, let's say, it was falling and you tried to catch it, and then it fell on your hand. Damn. Damn. I want to make sure he's got all 5 fingers. Yeah, I think
we have no evidence that all of his fingers are attached right now.
Yeah, it makes me think about the D lineman with the Giants who had the fireworks thing where he lost a couple digits.
Yes, Pierre Paul.
Yeah, wow, damn, Jaylen. That's I'm curious when he gets back and he gets the bandages off and he shows us kind of. Hopefully, he'll show us like what does that look like what it looks like. And
dude, I've dropped some vases. I've dropped stuff and cut my hands. I just don't know how hard you have to. You have to almost like intentionally try to like slam your hand into it. We've all picked broken glass up off the ground. I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's a hard one because
I might have come up with a better story. I'm this all.
Because I have had my hand opened up before, and I think a lot of people have, and I literally was playing like baseball, and I slid hand first diving for a ball in a bed of glass, and that took like 3 stitches, and hurt like hell, but
yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to be out that long. I was back a couple of days later.
This is either nothing or the biggest story of the season.
It's at one of the ends of the spectrum.
It's one of those ends right now. Yeah. It's either nothing or a huge story. It's impossible to know. So again, for now, I'm dubious, but if he's fine, it doesn't really matter.
I'm coming with the positive mojo.
I'm dubious about the reasoning, but if he's fine, it doesn't matter.
It's not going to be a big deal. He's going to be back. He's going to be ready. He's going to drop 28 against Atlanta, game 1, and life is going to be back to him. We're going to forget about this after game 3 when they're up 3-0.
This might be really bad. Like this might be, as you said, this might be like, as you said, like tape and a big friggin' mitt on your shooting hand.
Couldn't you try to pick the glass up with your offhand? Oh boy!
My God! Oh my God!
We still love him. We still love him. We still love Jaylen Brown, top of the pile.
Oh my God!
Oh man! Oh man!
That's
I'm fearful of how you will implode if this is more than just if he misses a game. Because you are going to absolutely implode, and we're going to have to watch and laugh, but we're going to because it's going to get so ugly. Oh gosh,
I'm pretty measured right now.
Right, yeah. Well, your measurement right now is on the same boat as Jaylen is expected to be ready for game 1. Okay, it's good now. It's good now, and hopefully it'll stay good going forward.
Did Joe tell Jaylen's hand that he loved it? Because that's the healing power of love is what we need now. We need Joe Mazzulla's love to make sure that Jaylen Brown's hand that his fingers are attached, and he's actually going to be able to play. Professor Blakely does have to get going in a little bit. As soon as Bobby Manning joins in, we will continue on with the Garden Report. While we wait for Bobby, real quick, tell you guys about Athletic Greens, one of our outstanding sponsors. Go to athleticgreens.com/garden. Get 1 year supply, vitamin D, 5 free travel packs, AG1. Terrific way to start your morning. Great way to kind of kickstart yourself if you're trying to get into a little bit of a health kick here. A bunch of vitamins, minerals, probiotics, adaptogens. One little scoop, put it in some water, and you're done for the day. Takes care of your immune system recovery, mental clarity, focus, gut health, all sorts of different things, immune system that you'd probably be chasing a bunch of different pills and supplements to do. You don't have to do that here. Just go here and go to athleticgreens.com/garden. Take advantage of that free gift you see on the screen, and take advantage of this free gift, which we will give you if you sign up and support our sponsor here. We will absolutely send you one of these, a Garden Report t-shirt. And not only are we going to send it to you, we fully expect that if we send you this t-shirt, that you are going to wear it at the next Celtics game you go to. That would be terrific. We would like that. I wore my Phenomenal t-shirt right when they hot off the presses. I wore my Phenomenal t-shirt to a game. The Denver game I geeked out at. No, a different game. Maybe it was a Denver game.
Might have been a Denver game. Yeah,
might have been that. I think I went to 2, maybe 3 this year. I went to Miami too. I saw a Miami game. When they played them back to back, those home games. Those were my fan experiences this year, Sherrod. That's it. That's what I did.
Need to get you out more.
That's all right. I'll let the kids go now. I've seen plenty. I've been going to a lot of Bruins games.
Yeah.
Covering some Bruins, getting ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs. That should be fun. Should be a fun time being a Boston fan right here. Yeah. Circling back to, again, I'm not going to completely go into the Brown stuff again until those guys jump on the show. Quick thoughts on, again, Pritchard we haven't seen because of the heel thing. Is there any world in which Peyton Pritchard gets a minute in the playoffs, or is this the last time we're ever going to see him do anything useful?
Foul trouble. Guys get in foul trouble, you can see him out there. Me and Bob Ryan, we were talking during the game about Peyton, and the thing that we both are kind of on the same page with is that he's just a player who just needs an opportunity. And he's probably going to have to play for a team that's not as good as this one to get that opportunity, because he can play. I mean, you watch him out there now. It wasn't just the shot making that it's his ability to dribble, drive, to create space, to do so many little things that help you win games. But the problem for him is, as good as I think he has the potential to be, the guys ahead of him are better. They're better, and they're playing their best basketball now. You're not going to get any of Derek White's minutes. You're not going to get any of Smart's minutes because of what he does defensively. You're not going to get any of Malcolm's minutes. Malcolm's like damn near sixth man of the year. So if you're paid, it's just like, you try to make the most of the minutes you get, but you know that they're not going to be there.
Bobby, give us some intel. What really happened to Jaylen's hand?
I don't know, obviously. So I got to take him at his word. I can't think of anything else. I mean, what did he do?
Doesn't matter what. Yeah. There's no reason to speculate. Yeah. All I'm saying is, are we certain he's going to be good?
That's the worry. So
that's because that's the thing is they said he should be fine, expected to be okay. That's not concrete. So
and he's out Sunday.
Huh?
He's out Sunday.
We know that, but you don't need him for a week or so.
Yeah.
Are we certain here? Based on what they're saying, based on what's coming out of the locker room, at least right now.
Didn't hear a ton on him. I mean, we talked to Peyton in there. I'm worried, obviously. I mean, I guess just being on this show, I'm always worried about everything. But stitches, shooting hand, a bad enough injury for his whole hand to be wrapped up the way it was, and I think you all saw the picture by now. I'm not trying to overreact, but it definitely could be something that impacts him at the very least, if not keeps him off the court. He'll play through it somehow, some way, I'm sure.
Again,
but it's 5 stitches. It's the shooting hand.
People are saying here 5 stitches is not like friggin' wrapping around your hand. It's a
Yeah.
small cut.
Yeah.
The size of the bandage and then the overall and look, I sliced myself over the summer and I had to have a big honking thing around, but that was one finger. This is a whole hand. Where did he slice himself? Through here? Like, what is it? Is it in a bad spot? Is there anything worse behind it? Again, 5 stitches is not like ridiculously large, but the massive wrap plus the should be fine, don't expect to miss time is a little.
I mean,
yeah.
would you expect them to say this is bad, guy? You know what I mean?
No, but the reverse is true. If it wasn't at all, be like, this is nothing. He should have it off in a couple of days and be back practicing. That would make you feel better that it's nothing.
And they put him in front of the media today, which probably, I don't know if that's just the ease concerns
is usually
or
the
it
opposite.
makes they feel better about it. Yeah.
Stand out there and make it seem like it's not a big deal, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
I have no idea what to say about it.
Sherrod has thoughts.
He's going to play.
I've worried Sherrod. I've got him worried.
Jaylen will be ready by game 1. Jaylen will be ready by game 1.
Will he be effective, though?
Well, shit. I mean, it doesn't matter whether he's effective. Is he going to
Yes,
be
it
out
does.
there?
It's the playoffs.
Bobby, if he's 100% healthy and he plays like crap, does that mean that he's not? He's going to be out there, and that's all you can count. You don't know whether he's going to be effective or not, regardless of whether he had this cut or not. But is he going to be out there? Yes. That's what you need to worry about. Is he going to be out there? Boom.
That's a big route. So is it across the middle of his hand, you think, or
who
just
knows,
on a finger?
man? We're not even sure he has all his fingers.
Yeah.
He got 5 stitches on the remaining fingers.
Listen, I think I'm confident Jaylen is going to be out there. How he plays, I don't know. None of us knows. He doesn't even know. But he's going to be out there doing whatever he can do to help this team win. And that's just how that's going.
So I have to think, if he was picking up a big piece of glass, it would have had to, because you wouldn't grab a piece of glass and firmly.
I ask yourself, why the hell are you picking up a big piece of glass? I mean, if the vase falls on the ground and breaks,
you know what you
do, right? You go get your damn broom.
You get your broom
and a dustpan
and your vacuum. Yeah.
You don't pick it up.
Yeah,
but
unless obviously that's not what happened. So again, everybody knows how you clean a freaking vase. You grab the big